Hey there, welcome to my YouTube channel, I Create with Color. My name is Kelli Needham and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Brighton, Colorado. If you have been to my YouTube channel before, welcome back. And if you are new to my channel today, I'm glad that you're here. I have this really pretty card that I want to show you today that is a card we made at a Christmas class couple weekends ago, and the girls really liked it, so I thought I would do a video on how to make it. It's a really simple card. It seems like it's a lot more complicated than it really is, and so it's a really good one that you can duplicate and change up the sayings to be whatever you want them to be. You can change up dies if you don't have this particular one, and it's just a really fun card. So I'm going to bring in the supplies and we're going to get started. So cardstock wise, you're going to need a half sheet of cardstock. In this case, I'm using Coastal Cabana, cut at 8.5 by 5.5, and I have scored that at 4.25 here. A piece of Highland Heather at 5 by 3.75. I am using Shimmery White cardstock for my my card front, and that is going to be 4 7/8 by 3 5/8. Then I also have a piece of Whisper White cut at 5.25 by 4. You're also going to need a piece of our Sparkle Glimmer paper, which is absolutely beautiful. And the piece needs to be at least 3 inches by 3 inches. As you can see here, this is a piece I've already die cut from. So that's what I'm going to continue to use today. Now, for the stamp sets for this card, there are several that I used mainly because I did not order a whole bunch of Christmas sets this year. So when I went to find a sentiment to go on the front of this, I didn't have a whole lot of choices. So we're going to be using Bokeh dots, and we're going to use this stamp right here that looks kind of like a starry night sky. I'm also going to be using First Frost, which is a carryover from a previous catalog, and I really like this sentiment right here. Here's to a season filled with warmth, comfort, and good cheer. I'm going to be using Colorful Season, but we're just going to be using the 2 snowflakes out of this set. So those are the 3 stamp sets that I've chosen. And then we're also going to be using dies from the holiday catalog, and the die set is actually called Christmas Layers dies. It's really pretty. It has kind of like a holly or mistletoe die here. This one can be kind of a lacy or snowflake or flower pattern depending on how you look at it. And then it's got these really pretty snowflakes, and we're going to be using this snowflake die here and then the 2 smaller snowflakes on the sides here. If you really do like this die set, you might consider ordering it as a bundle. It comes with this Itty Bitty Christmas stamp set, which has a lot of different holiday greetings in it that are really nice because they have a lot of different holidays, like season's greetings, happy holidays. You have your Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. It also does have one that you can make tags with, and a couple really cute ones that you could use if you were going to be giving out like sweet treats for the holidays. So something to consider. Bundles are always nice. They save you 10%. They usually come with either a stamp set and punches or a stamp set and dies. So keep an eye out for those when you're looking to purchase products. It'll save you a little bit of money. Ink pads wise, we're going to be using Coastal Cabana, Highland Heather, and Granny Apple Green are going to be my color choices today. And then I'm also going to be using the Memento-Tuxedo Black. Along with that, you're going to need a couple of sponge daubers. Hopefully you have some of those on hand. And we're going to just jump right in. So I'm going to bring in my piece of the Shimmery White cardstock and the stamp that kind of looks like that starry night sky. So the first thing that we're going to do is open up our 3 ink pads. You want to have those open and ready on hand. And we're going to need our sponge daubers. So I'm going to be taking my Coastal Cabana sponge dauber, and I'm going to ink that up, and I'm going to be inking up about 1/3 of my stamp for each one of these colors. So I'm just going to start by rubbing that on there right in a straight line across the top of my stamp here. And then I'm going to kind of daub that color on there to make sure that it's really well inked. Once I have the Coastal Cabana done, I'm going to come in and I'm going to use my Granny Apple Green. And again, I'm going to ink up my dauber, and I'm just going to rub that right across the middle of my stamp now, making sure that I kind of stay in that same line across there. And then I'm going to take that and I'm just going to kind of daub it really close to the blue so that we get those colors blending together nicely. And last but not least, I'm going to use the Highland Heather, and I'm going to ink up that top portion of my stamp. Just kind of rubbing that on the stamp. Ink that up really well, and then again I'm going to kind of daub that color on there, kind of blending into the green just a little bit. Then I'm going to take each one of the daubers and I'm going to go back and just kind of blend those colors together right down in between each one. Now when you do this, you want to make sure that when you're done you clean off your daubers, because the colors are going to blend together just a little bit. And you may end up with a little bit of green on the blue where you don't want it. As you can see, it's kind of left some green ink on there. So just make sure you clean those daubers off and you'll be good to go. Alright, now that we have that all inked up, I'm going to take that and I'm going to line it up on my cardstock the best that I can, as centered as possible. And we're going to stamp that. Now this is a pretty bold or fairly flat surface stamp, so you want to make sure you apply really good pressure to make sure that you get all surfaces of that stamp inked up really well, or your paper inked up really well. So there is the background part of our focal piece. Now I'm going to bring in my inside piece and the two snowflake stamps, and I'm going to use the larger of the two first. I'm also going to bring in a piece of scrap paper that I have off to the side over here, because what I want to do is I'm going to stamp off each one of these images before I stamp it. So I'm going to ink up my Highland Heather snowflake first. I'm going to stamp that off, and then I'm going to stamp onto my inside piece. And the reason I'm doing this is I want to get a little bit lighter of an impression on here, so that it kind of just gives a really pretty light color to the background. Now I'm going to take in that smaller one, and I'm going to go in with my Granny Apple Green, and again I'm going to stamp these off each time that I stamp them. And add those snowflakes right there. Looks like I got something on there. Now, because I am going to be using this smaller one, again I'm going to clean my stamp real quick on my Stampin' Scrub and make sure that it's clean. Now I'm going to use my Coastal Cabana, and I'm going to go ahead and ink that up and just stamp that little snowflake right there next to the other ones. And again, I'm going to do that for the top as well. I'm going to do a little bit in the corner here, and then I think I'm going to add another one right here. All right, that's all done. So the only stamping, whoops, sorry about that. The only stamping that we have left now is to do the sentiment. And I have a sentiment that is one piece, okay? In the sample that I showed you, it showed that sentiment stamped all in one piece, and I didn't quite like that. I think it gets kind of lost in the background of this stamp, and so I'm going to show you how I separated that into two pieces so that I can use part of it on the front of my card and part of it on the inside of my card. So what I've done is I've taken my stamp, and it's nice and clean and dry, and I'm going to take a piece of washi tape, and you can use any kind of washi tape or even masking tape if you have it. And I'm just going to take a piece of washi tape that's big enough to go across that, and I'm just going to stick that down to the bottom part of that sentiment right there. And now I'm going to use my Memento ink pad, and I'm going to ink up the top half of my stamp, making sure that I get it inked up really well. And now I'm going to peel off that piece of washi tape off of the bottom. And now all I have inked is that top portion that I want for the front of my card. And I find that stamping it on the lighter color tends to help it stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to line this up here, making sure I have it the right direction. And I'm going to stamp that right about there. Yep, looks pretty good. All right, now I'm going to clean my stamp off because we want to do the exact same thing. Only next time we're going to use the bottom portion of the sentiment. And make sure it's really dry. All right, so now I'm going to take another piece of washi tape. Like I said, you can use masking tape or whatever you have on hand. And I'm going to cover up the top portion of that sentiment. And I'm going to ink up the bottom portion. Now, because of that warmth that's on here, it kind of curves down on the sides just a little bit. So when I peel up my washi tape, I want to go back and I want to make sure that I don't have any ink on these little edges right here. And it looks like I'm good this time. I've done a couple where I've gotten a little bit of ink on here and it showed up when I stamped it on my card. All right, so I'm going to bring in my inside piece, and this time I'm going to try to remember that I'm stamping this bottom section here. So I'm going to try to line this up somewhere right in there and stamp the comfort and good cheer part of our sentiment. And we are done with the stamping part of our card. All right, so from here it's really simple to put this card together. I'm going to bring in my 2 pieces for the front. Go ahead and fold your card in half, and I'm going to go ahead and put the inside sentiment in first, the inside piece. And I'm just using my mono adhesive. You can use snail or whatever you have to put your card together, glue sticks, whatever adhesive you prefer. I'm going to line that up right on the inside. So that's just kind of a nice, cute, fun little part of your sentiment, and gives you a nice place to write whatever message you want to write to whoever you're going to send it to. And now I'm going to take the Highland Heather piece and I'm just going to attach that to the front of my card using the Tombow. Sorry, I have no rhyme and reason to my taping, so if you ever watch me, it's different every time. All right, I'm going to line that up right there on the front of my card. And it's probably a little off because, you know, it is on camera. So that was my mess up from before, just so you guys know. You don't really have to stamp both sides of your card. All right, so I'm going to apply that to the front. Just like that. Now I have basically my whole card together except for the beautiful snowflakes that are going to go on the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my scrap paper again, and I'm going to be using a little bit different adhesive. If you haven't seen this before, it's called Dots adhesive, and it's still made by Tombow, and it comes out exactly the same way as the tape runner does. But on the tape, it has little tiny dots of adhesive instead of a full strip. And the nice thing about that is when you go to put adhesive on the back of some of these things that are real intricate and have a lot of holes in them, this is going to leave adhesive only where you have a surface. So it's not going to leave adhesive in all those little holes, or at least not a lot of them. You may get a little bit that kind of goes through, but you just want to put a little bit of adhesive all over the back of your snowflakes, and then you can position that on your card front where you want it to go, and you'll be able to stick that down really easy. All right, so there's my larger piece. Now I have the 2 smaller snowflakes left, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on the backs of each one of those. Little one's a little bit harder to get, but then you can take those and position them on the front of the card where you want them to go. Just like that. Now the last thing I need to do to finish my card is add some bling, because, you know, we all like glitter and bling. And I'm just going to do that by adding some of our basic rhinestones to the centers of these snowflakes. And you can use as few or as many as you want. I like a lot of bling, so I will probably add more than what most people think I should. And that's okay, because you guys can make yours however you want. So I'm going to put one right there in the center of that one. Oh, maybe if it had adhesive actually stuck to it, I would. Let's try that again. There we go. Then I'm going to add a couple little ones to the snowflakes that are single by themselves, because we don't want to leave anybody out. All right, as you can see, that's a really simple, pretty card you can make multiples of if you like to do a lot of the same image and save you some time on having to create and design different cards. And just to show you a little bit of a different color scheme, I'll bring in this one. This I used the Highland Heather as the card base, and then I swapped out the Highland Heather on here with the Coastal Cabana. So it still gives a really pretty effect, and you have that that same color scheme to your cards. So thank you for stopping by. If you liked my project today and you want to purchase any of the items that I used, you can go to my store at creationcorner.stampinup.net. If you liked my video, please don't forget to hit like and share, and even subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're interested in seeing more videos. Thanks for stopping by, and have a great day.